Wendy, I'm going to ask you something now, because it's been a little bit of a while since you've had a chance to get a word in edgeways, which I suspect you might be used to, but...
If it's on a roll,
Yeah, my wife says the same thing about me, but how has it been for you, with your husband? Obviously in the younger years, obviously away, I guess, a lot, you're leaving you at home with the kids, and you have 5, I think. And
yes.
This is a very personal question, because my poor wife has the same thing.
Oh, she has 5 too.
With me travelling more for work, of course, but... How did you cope being left alone, like she is right now, with 5 children, and actually no car, I'm ashamed to admit?
Oh, right. Well, when Terry was away, usually it was abroad, so I did have the use of the car, which was very helpful.
Yeah, she usually does as well. This is, in fact, the first time since we went down to one car that we've been in this situation, but it's not very easy to get here by public transport. Oh, you have your own, so that's helpful.
Yeah, yes.
But what about, just left at home, he's away on a plane?
Well, I think we... it's one of our main focuses. Well, our main focus is to build churches which really are one another in context, so we aren't left alone, in fact. And I was very much involved in church life and very beautifully loved and served by the church that I've been in now for 5 or 6 years. And I didn't actually feel that I was left alone.
Yeah.
Obviously missed Terry a lot when he was away, but... life was very busy and very full, and I never felt solitary, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it has been great that as the children have grown up and now have their own homes, they're all married now, that I can travel much more with Terry. And I think it is a new season. Terry always used to travel with another guy or a group of guys because it was part of his training of them. And part of introducing them to our values and helping them to see how an apostle works and how to work with an apostle, and developing our whole understanding of apostolic work. And so to take a group of guys with him was very helpful and instructive to all concerned. But now we have a number of men who would be in that position, like David Holden, Dave Devenish and so on, who would also take groups of people with them, teams I would say. But as they've developed teamwork as well, they are now going off with their wives because their children are also grown up. So it's becoming a bit of a pattern, I think.
So you're very much involved right at the thick of things then?
Probably not as much as, say, some people like David Devenish, who goes into a place for several weeks or months at a time.
And he's taken his wife in those circumstances, of course, isn't he? You can't leave your
Russia.
wife for 3 months, can you?
Well, that's the thing, yes, it's quite a sacrifice, I think, at times, travelling around places like Kazakhstan and places I can't even pronounce.
Yeah.
But actually, Terry and I will be going to Australia for 3 months at the end of this year. So that'll be a new venture for us.
But you went to America for 3 years, didn't you?
2 years.
2 years?
Yes. Actually, that was a very profitable time too.
Yeah. So I'm going to move back to Terry for a moment now, because your wife just mentioned this funny A word, the A word, apostolic, apostle. What's that about? Because, obviously there'll be a lot of people who will, I guess, not really understand what that means for New Frontiers and for...
Yeah, I think it's very important to say that we see different types of apostle, even in the Bible. Jesus, the great apostle, 12 unique, obviously, in the book of Revelation. But then you see in Ephesians chapter 4, Jesus ascends on high and gives from his ascended position apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastor, teachers. So there's that ongoing ministry. It says this will be until the church comes to fullness of stature, to a mature man. There's that sense this is an ongoing thing, that God will continually give these varied ministries. So one isn't looking for more Bible writers, and I think very often we from the Reformed tradition have thought, well, an apostle writes the scripture and that's his role. But really I don't think that stands up to close inspection. Several of the 12 did not write scripture. Several of the people who wrote scripture were not apostles. So it's not really the point. The point is more church planters. And Paul says, as a wise master builder, I laid a foundation, he travelled, he planted churches. And we would feel that that's really what we're talking about. A modern day church planters, people who pioneer new ground, establish eldership, establish churches, have a fathering, ongoing care for those churches, strongly built on relationship, so that we're friends in the ministry, as Paul referred to people. Even at the end of Romans, In chapter 16, there's all these personal greetings to people, and so we are building very relationally. We're building new churches, planting churches, and now various teams have been raised up doing apostolic work.
Right. Okay. So I guess really, in summary, what you're talking about for those people who've got a different vocabulary is someone who can church plant and help establish churches. So I mean, that's obviously exciting. I mean, 500 churches, New Frontiers now, isn't it? Is that right?
Well, it's probably nearer 600 now.
Wow.
Well,
last time I checked, it was 400. So it's obviously going up very quickly at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. And I've been in touch today, even just a moment ago, with Edward Buria in Kenya, where there are now some 130 churches, which he's helped start, and we serve with him. We're very much in touch with him at the moment, with the political tensions there. And then we've churches in South Africa and indeed around the world. And so when you add them all up around the world, it's I'm told it's difficult to keep up because Edward plants so many churches in Kenya, but we're also planting churches in West Africa, South Africa, and into Asia, as Wendy was saying, Australia now, New Zealand. So we're planting churches very widely.
You didn't mention anything about America there.
Yes, we are involved
yeah.
in the USA. And in fact, we'll be we've been in March to the Leaders Conference recently, and then we're going again in June to our Midwest Family Camp held in Warrensburg University, just outside Kansas City. And then in August, we're going across to the West, where we've growing involvement in Oregon, and in Idaho and Montana, a number of churches that are reaching toward us. Quite a lot of these pastors are coming over. I understand 30 pastors are coming from the West to our Brighton conference together on a mission in July, where we'll be about 5,000 gathered there. But just from that part of America, with 30 coming. So I would think there might be something in the region of 60 coming over from the US to our conference in the summer.